It's Coast to Coast with Mike, your host. It's the YouTube show that helps you cash in most. His track record's phenom, his cashing rate is the bomb, and it's all brought to you by RacingDudes.com. And now, the host of your show, Mike Somich.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Coast for Sunday, June 17th, 2018. I'm your host, Mike Somich. Before we get this going, happy Father's Day to everybody. I know horse racing was a big influence on both my father and I's relationship, and so today's kind of special to be doing this on Father's Day. So happy Father's Day, Dad. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Let's talk a little about Churchill last night. So last night was a Stephen F. Foster. It was interesting because you had two huge favorites, both Axeman and Backyard Heaven, go down in a 5-race sequence, which made the pick 5 payout just stacks. I thought it was cool to have Pavel win his grade 1 finally. Last 4 races, he's faced Accelerate twice, City of Light, and Gunrunner. So it's a rare case, but this was actually a drop in class for Pavel going into grade 1. So congratulations to Pavel and those connections for getting it done. Secondly, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Belmont turf course. Keep an eye out for it. In the last couple of days, you've seen a couple track records come very close to falling in lower level races. So for instance, yesterday they ran 7 furlongs in 1:19.2. Track record was 1:19.1. And a lot of the speed or the stalkers are the ones who end up being able to win with those type of fractions. I mean, when you have a 22:43 half mile, and then you have that horse end up holding or winning the race, it's pretty crazy because you don't usually see any horses go 22:43 and win. So without further ado, let's go coast to coast.
West Coast.
All right, today we're going to kick it off from Santa Anita. We're going to look at the first race. It's a claiming event for $35,000, going 1 mile on the turf. And I'm going to go to the 5-horse Gone with Bali. Gone to Bali ran last 2 times out in $62,000 optional claimers. And the last race out was its second race off a long layoff and first race off of a layoff, going 6.5 furlongs down the hill. I think the mile is a better distance for Gone to Bali. And I like the fact that this is going to be a second off a layoff. And this is really, I think the last race is more of a refresher than anything else. You saw her go close to the lead and then kind of fall back a little bit. I think Gone to Bali is going to be able to get the lead in this field, and I think she's going to be able to go on with it. I think she's going to be very tough on the front end. So I'm going to go with Gone to Bali at 4-1 as my top choice. I'm going to go right to the horse next to her, Proud and Ready for Morley, ridden by Flavian Pratt. I like the fact that this horse is coming off the claim, and if you look at Morley's numbers off the claim, 37 outings, he's almost 25% with these horses. I think the mile, again, is a good distance for this horse. And I think that it's going to sit a nice trip. It's going to sit probably 4th or 5th in the field and be able to make a move around the top of the turn. I'm just not sure if we're going to be able to get all the way to Gone to Bali. For my third pick, I'm going to go to the 2-horse, Girl Downstairs. I think that this is another horse where you're getting second off the claim for Ron Ellis. The first time they didn't really get what they wanted out of it, going 6.5 furlongs. But now we're stretching back out to a mile where this horse has had some success. And if you look back in its past performances, in 2017, mile at Del Mar, mile at Santa Anita, it was very successful at this distance. So I think getting back to the mile after layoff and 2 sprints is going to prove to be pretty beneficial for the 2-horse Girl Downstairs. And then for my fourth choice, I'm going to go with the 3-horse War Moccasin. Again, this horse just went back and forth between barns the last couple of times. I think this mile distance is, again, good for it. It should sit a little bit closer to the pace, which I think is going to be beneficial here. I think War Moccasin's probably going to sit in the 3 or 4 hole going around that, or down the backstretch. But again, I think that Gone to Bali really sets up well here to get a nicer, easier lead. And I think that the fact that stretching out from the 6 furlong race to the mile and the second off the layoff should really get an improved performance from Gone to Bali. So I'll be going with the 5, 4, 2, 3 in the first race at Santa Anita.
East Coast.
And now on to Belmont, where we're going to talk about the 9th race. It's the Grade 3 Poker. It's a 1-mile race on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. This one's super interesting to me for a couple reasons. First off, you get Oscar Performance coming back. The 3-horse hasn't run since the Breeders' Cup. It's a very, very good horse who did really well against 3-year-olds last year, but when went and faced older horses was not quite as successful, finishing 3rd and 9th against older horses. And then you also have Black Tide in here, the 6-horse. If you didn't get a chance to look at Black Tide's races before, I remember being at Saratoga last year, and this horse would just burst out of the gate. He's a little speedball. He would get up by 6, 8, 10 lengths in some cases in these mile and a half turf races, and you have no clue whether or not this thing is going to hold or not. Well, with how the turf course is playing, having Black Tide in this race is very, very interesting. I mentioned at the top of the show, we almost saw a couple track records fall, and if Black Tide is somehow able to keep on with it today, I mean, he could run a 21 and change, 44 and change opening fractions for a mile race, graded race, which would be absolutely absurd. You'd never see anyone hold at that. But with how the Belmont turf course is playing, I think that he could actually have a chance. I'll be playing him in the multi-race exotics, although I'm not going to play him here when specifically picking the race-to-race stuff. So my top pick is actually going to be Major Look, the 5-horse. It's a Chad Brown horse for J.J. Castellano, and I think it's really interesting that this is going to be the second time out for Chad Brown. If you look back in the conditions, it was a Pletcher horse, and Pletcher gave it up to the Brown barn, and immediately you saw a career best buyer and a really nice effort on turf, an $80,000 optional claimer. That buyer bumped up all the way up to 89 in that race, and now you're getting him going back onto the turf and facing better horses for the first time. But that being said, if he can improve second time out off the layoff, second time out in Chad Brown's barn, which are two things you usually do see improvement off of, he's going to be right there in this race. And I do think there's a ton of speed here. Oscar Performance usually likes to be on or close to the lead. I mentioned Black Tide. Black Tide is going to be the leader, and he will be going very fast out there. Voodoo Song, right to his outside, likes to be on or close to the lead. So all of a sudden, you have three horses that are going to be really pushing a pace, which I expect to be absolutely blistering. And you're going to have the 5 Major Look sitting right behind those horses. And if he can improve, I think he's going to be the horse to beat here. The classiest horse in this field is the 4-horse Bolly Rock, so I'm going to take for second. These two are interchangeable in my mind. The 5 and the 4, the only reason I'm going to the 5 is because it's a better price. But Bolly Rocks has been just a model of consistency, able to close a lot of ground late, but also able to stay close to the pace when needed. I think this is going to be one of those situations where he's going to be 6 to 10 lengths back, but sitting in 4th or 5th. And so it's going to be a close or a distant 4th or 5th, but you're going to really have some speed to chase into. I think Bolly Rocks, who's the most consistent horse and the classiest horse in this field, is going to run well today. I'm going to take him for second. For the third place, we're going all the way to the outside. I like Fire Away. Again, this is another horse that's shown the ability to close. I think he just got to draw a line through the last one. It was taken off of the turf, put onto the slop at Pimlico. I mean, that race, while he won it, was not exactly what you would expect from a turf horse. And if you look back at his 3 turf starts prior to that, the buyers were significantly better. So it's rare that you draw a line through a race that was taken off the turf, but I don't think that that's really a good example of what that horse is capable of. So I'm going to go with the 8-horse for third place. And then in fourth, I am going to go to the 2-horse Oscar Performance, or 3-horse Oscar Performance, I'm sorry. I think that Oscar Performance is going to really have to make a choice early in this race. And if Ortiz sends him out with Voodoo Song and Black Tide, I don't think Oscar Performance can hold. This is a really tough spot to be coming back off a layoff. And, if Oscar Performance is able to sit that third place trip right behind those top 2, I think he'll be dangerous. But I think there's a lot of talent in this race. I think you have a couple horses that are coming right into form. And this is just a tough spot for Oscar Performance to come back. So I think you're going to see better from him in other situations when the turf course isn't necessarily playing as it is and when there's not so much talent in the race. So for this race, I'm going to go 5, 4, 8, 3. Good luck, everybody. Like I said, happy Father's Day. Hope all the horses are with you. Don't forget to subscribe below and check out Coast to Coast. We're back next Thursday, going Thursday through Sunday next week. Hope everyone has a good one. Enjoy the week.
Thanks for watching Coast to Coast, brought to you by RacingDudes.com. I was your host, Mike Somich. You can follow me on Twitter at Samabomb18, and you can follow the Racing Dudes at Racing_Dudes. Head over to RacingDudes.com for all the latest news, articles, free picks, and premium selections. Don't forget to check out the podcast, Blinkers Off, available twice a week on iTunes, SoundCloud, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.